She began engaging in activities that Junior found perplexing, as this game was entirely unlike the one he played with his friends at school. At just 10 years old and in primary school, Junior had a passion for playing football with his friends and reading storybooks. However, most days, he returned home from school to an empty house, as his parents were consistently occupied with work. Mr. and Mrs. Aki owned a large shop in the market and dedicated themselves to hard work each day to earn a living, aspiring to provide Junior with a good life. The school bus would drop Junior off at home by 3 p.m., leaving him alone until 6 p.m. when his mother returned from the market. "I'm so bored being at home alone," he expressed to his parents one evening. "We apologize, Junior, it's only for 3 hours," his mother replied. "We must work hard to cover your school fees and other expenses." Junior understood their reasoning, yet at times he wished they could spend more time with him. One day, Mrs. Aki proposed a solution. "Junior," she said, "Auntie Jennifer next door will look after you until we return home." Auntie Jennifer, their neighbor, was a young woman in her late 20s who lived alone. She was always cheerful and friendly, which made Junior's parents feel comfortable entrusting her with their son. "Okay, Mommy," Junior replied, feeling reassured. He was already familiar with Auntie Jennifer, who often brought him small treats. Thus, Junior began spending his afternoons at Auntie Jennifer's house after school. Although her home was small, it was tidy, and she always greeted Junior with a plate of food and a warm smile. "Junior, come and eat." "How was school today?" she would inquire. Initially, Junior felt a bit shy, but Auntie Jennifer's kindness and her amusing stories soon put him at ease. She also allowed him to watch cartoons on her television, and gradually, he began to enjoy his time there. One day, Auntie Jennifer surprised him with a special gift, a new football. "This is for you, Junior," she said. "You're like the little brother I never had." "Thank you, Auntie," Junior replied with a smile. However, as time went on, circumstances began to shift. One afternoon, after Junior completed his homework, Junior felt a sense of embarrassment about not wanting to disclose his situation to his parents. He struggled to find a way to explain it, as he could not comprehend why it was occurring. Previously, he had never experienced such incidents, but now they seemed to happen almost every night. One evening, following another episode, Junior sat alone in his room, overwhelmed by sadness and confusion. Although he yearned to confide in his parents, the prospect of explaining his predicament filled him with dread. The following day, Auntie Jennifer invited him to her home once more. A knot formed in his stomach, he was reluctant to go, yet his parents were occupied, leaving him with no alternative. Upon his arrival, he quietly admitted to Auntie Jennifer, "I don't feel so good, I've been wetting my bed." She regarded him with an unusual expression and reassured him, "Don't worry, Junior, it's nothing serious, it happens sometimes." However, her tone lacked the usual comfort he had come to expect. In the days that followed, the incidents continued unabated. Junior's frustration grew as he pondered the reasons behind his feelings of fear and anxiety. He sat silently in his room, fixated on the wall, his chest heavy and his stomach knotted with unease. He yearned to confide in his mother, yet the words remained lodged in his throat. When his mother returned from shopping that evening, she appeared weary, her arms laden with bags. Junior mustered the courage to follow her into the kitchen. "Mommy," he began softly. "Yes, Junior," she replied, her attention focused on unpacking groceries. After a moment of hesitation, he continued, "Mommy, I need to tell you something. It's about Auntie Jennifer." Before he could elaborate, his mother sighed, "Not now, please. I've had a long day," she said, wiping the sweat from her brow. "I still need to cook, and your father will be home soon. Can this wait?" Junior's heart sank as he looked down at his feet, feeling his words slip away. "Oh, okay, Mommy," he mumbled, retreating slowly to his room. However, the matter could not wait. That night, Junior awoke to find his bed wet once more. He stared at the damp sheets, panic surging within him. "What is happening to me?" he thought, tears welling in his eyes as he curled up under the blanket, wishing he had spoken up and that his mother had listened. The following day at school, Junior struggled to concentrate. While his classmates laughed and played, he felt detached, as if he were in another world. His teacher, Mrs. Adabo, noticed his silence. "Junior, is everything all right?" she inquired kindly. He opened his mouth to respond but quickly closed it again, opting to nod instead. Junior sat quietly at the back of the classroom, staring blankly at his notebook, unable to write a single word. The other students laughed and answered questions, but he felt isolated, trapped in his own thoughts. Mrs. Adabo observed him closely. He was not his usual self. Once lively and full of energy, he had recently become quiet, distant, and withdrawn. After the lesson, Mrs. Adabo dismissed the class for break time. A gentle voice called out, "Junior, please wait." Junior halted in his tracks, slowly gathering his books, before approaching her desk, with his gaze lowered. "Junior, I've noticed a change in you," Mrs. Adabo said softly. "You are not the same boy I once knew. You seem quieter, and your work has declined. Is there something troubling you at home?" Junior remained silent, his eyes fixed on the floor as he felt a tightness in his chest. Mrs. Adabo leaned in closer, reassuring him, "I am not here to get you in trouble, I genuinely want to help. You can share anything with me, all right?" Junior's lips quivered as he struggled to find his voice, the words feeling burdensome. No one had inquired about his feelings before, not even his parents. Tears began to form in his eyes as he finally managed to whisper, "It's Aunt Jennifer." Mrs. Adabo's expression turned serious. "What about Aunt Jennifer?" she asked. Junior swallowed hard, glancing around to ensure no one was eavesdropping. "She makes me feel uncomfortable. She does things I don't like, and it frightens me," he admitted, his voice trembling. Mrs. Adabo's eyes filled with compassion as she reached out to gently hold Junior's hand. "Oh, Junior, I am so sorry you are feeling this way. Thank you for trusting me enough to share," she said carefully. "However, this is a very serious issue. You should not have to bear this alone. I need to help you, but I must involve adults who can protect you." Fear washed over Junior as he replied, "Please don't tell my parents. I tried, but they didn't listen. I don't want to get into trouble." Mrs. Adabo squeezed his hand gently. "You are not in trouble, Junior. None of this is your fault. I won't inform them without your consent, but I must speak to someone who can help you feel safe again. Do you trust me?" Junior nodded slowly, feeling a small sense of relief. "Good. I promise to handle this with care. You are very brave for confiding in me." Later that day, after her classes, Mrs. Adabo met with the school principal and counselor. She recounted everything Junior had shared with her, and they all agreed that this was a serious issue requiring immediate attention. They decided to invite Junior's parents to the. During a private meeting, Mr. and Mrs. Aki arrived, appearing both confused and anxious. Mr. Aki inquired about any issues concerning Junior's academic performance. Mrs. Adab, taking a deep breath, responded, "No, sir, this matter is not related to academics, it is far more serious. Junior has confided in me about something that raises significant concerns regarding his safety." Exchanging worried glances, Junior's parents pressed for clarification. His mother asked, "What do you mean?" Mrs. Adab proceeded to explain Junior's situation with care and firmness, revealing that he had been feeling frightened and uncomfortable due to their neighbor, Auntie Jennifer. Mrs. Aki's complexion drained of color, while Mr. Aki sat back in silence. Mrs. Adab continued, "Junior attempted to communicate this to you, but he sensed that you were not prepared to hear him. I recognize that you have been preoccupied, but this is a critical issue. Your son requires your complete attention and protection." Mrs. Aki turned slowly to her husband, exclaiming, "Oh my God, the signs we overlooked. We thought it was merely stress." Mr. Aki clenched his fists in disbelief, questioning how such a situation could unfold right under their noses. Mrs. Adab leaned in, emphasizing, "At this moment, Junior needs your love and support. We must report this to the appropriate authorities to ensure his safety and that of any other child who may be at risk. Mr. Aki nodded slowly, his jaw set firmly, affirming, "Yes, we are going to the police immediately." Upon returning home, Mrs. Aki sat Junior down, tears welling in her eyes. "Junior, I am so sorry," she whispered. "I should have listened when you tried to speak to me. I was too preoccupied, and I failed you. But I promise, we are here now, and we will protect you." Junior looked up at his mother and nodded slowly, while his father placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, stating, "We will ensure that Auntie Jennifer never comes near you or any other child again." For the first time in weeks, Junior felt a sense of safety. Early the next morning, Mr. and Mrs. Aki took Junior to the police station, where he clung tightly to his mother's hand, his small fingers gripping her for reassurance. The building trembled, exuding a cold and serious atmosphere, while the uniformed officers appeared busy and stern. A kind female officer approached them, greeting, "Good morning, how may I assist you?" Mr. Aki cleared his throat, his voice steady yet filled with anger. "We need to report something serious regarding our neighbor, Auntie Jennifer. She has been harming our son." The officer's expression turned grave as she knelt to Junior's level, offering a gentle smile. "Hello, young man. You are very brave for coming here today. Would you like to speak with me in a quiet room?" Junior glanced at his parents, and upon receiving a reassuring nod from his mother, he agreed. In the private room, the officer listened intently as Junior recounted, in slow and measured tones, how Auntie Jennifer made him feel uncomfortable, leading to his bedwetting due to fear. Although he spoke softly, the weight of his words was significant. The officer diligently took notes. "Thank you for sharing this with me, Junior. You have done the right thing, and we will address this matter." Later that day, 2 police officers knocked on Auntie Jennifer's door. She opened it, surprised to see them. "Good afternoon, ma'am. We need to discuss a serious complaint. You are under investigation for harming a child," one officer stated firmly. Auntie Jennifer's demeanor shifted. "This must be a mistake," she stammered, attempting to maintain her composure. However, the officers had heard enough. They handcuffed her and escorted her out of the compound as neighbors looked on in shock. Junior, watching from his window, experienced a complex mix of relief and fear. It was now undeniable, Auntie Jennifer was gone. Days passed, and the house began to feel different. Junior no longer needed to go next door after school. His parents alternated between staying home and picking him up early. One afternoon, his mother joined him on the couch and gently inquired, "Junior, how are you feeling?" He shrugged and replied, "Better, but sometimes I still feel scared." His mother embraced him tightly, reassuring him, "That's okay, healing takes time, and we are here for you." Additionally, his parents arranged for Junior to meet with a school counselor who was kind and patient. Gradually, Junior became more open about his feelings. The bedwetting incidents diminished and eventually ceased altogether. Months later, Junior found himself on the football field, laughing and playing with his friends, while his teacher, Miss Adabo, observed from a distance with a smile. Although he remembered everything, it no longer hindered him. After class one day, Junior approached Mrs. Adabo and quietly expressed his gratitude. "Thank you, Ma." She smiled warmly and replied, "You're welcome, Junior. I am proud of you." With a grin, Junior ran off to rejoin his friends. At home, his parents were more engaged than ever, and their family felt complete once again. Although Auntie Jennifer was gone, the scars she left were healing. Junior had learned a vital lesson: he was never alone, and no matter how challenging things became, there would always be someone willing to listen. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like and share your comments and contributions below. Let us know where you are watching from so I can send you a special hug in my next video. Today's special hug goes to Gloria, who is watching from GH. Thank you, Gloria, for being part of our community. Sending peace and love to you and everyone in Ghana, and a heartfelt thank you to my amazing YouTube family. I love you all, and see you soon.